I was literally done with teaching. Hello historians and welcome back. My name is Cecilia Tamez and I help overwhelmed history teachers transform into confident facilitators of learning. It was May of 2019 and I was at my wit's end with teaching. I was so desperate that I decided to get as far away from school as possible. So I decided to book a flight to Nashville, Tennessee about 2 weeks before the end of the school year. And I made plans to attend a concert while I was there. Now, I realized that something was desperately wrong when I literally woke up on time to go to this concert. I couldn't will myself emotionally, physically, to get up to attend. And so I ended up sleeping through this concert that I had specifically decided to go to. I mean, it's the reason why I booked the flight. This is when I realized that I wasn't okay. At that moment in time, I realized that I hated teaching. It had just become like this perpetual suckfest that both broke my heart, dehumanized me, and literally crushed my teacher ego every day. And I needed a change. And even though I loved teaching itself, I did not like the school year that I was experiencing. And it made me so sad to feel those feelings. It's honestly taken me about 2 years to figure out how and why this happened. And if you're a new teacher, not only do I want to prevent this from happening to you, but if you're a teacher that's already feeling the same hopelessness, that you'll never love teaching again, even though you would just love to bounce back from that feeling, I want to share how I was actually able to salvage my passion for teaching and ultimately decide to stay the next school year. And if you've been feeling like this lately, drop me a thumbs up emoji in the comments below, because I want you to know that you are not alone and you have an entire teaching community supporting you here on this channel. So the first culprit that contributed to me almost leaving teaching was that the year before I had worked summer school. So this was like summer of 2018. And I'd heard it was easy money, right? Easy money. Well, compared to the school year. And what do teachers need? Money. So I literally chose money over my wellness. And to be honest with you, in the end, it didn't really make too much of a difference after taxes. So my advice to you is always choose you. I have so much respect for teachers that literally do summer school every single summer, but in my experience, it only took 1 summer for me to learn that no amount of money is worth your wellness. So another culprit that contributed to my growing dislike for teaching was the fact that I was so tired from summer school that I honestly didn't have the time or the energy to evaluate my teaching practices, to tweak them, to modify them for my incoming students. And I can't tell you how important this is. As a matter of fact, I've designed an entire program around this premise, because what good is your teaching experience if you don't know how to build systems that will correct the issues that you've experienced in the past so that they don't continue to happen? My program, Teach Like an Influencer Academy, is literally instant teaching experience with organized and actionable steps to ensure that you're managing systems for student-led and student-centered classrooms. If you want to know a little bit more about my program, be sure to check the link in the description. The third culprit that was making me hate teaching actually has nothing to do with teaching. I was having a personally challenging year, and my problem was that I was purposely overworking myself at school as a scapegoat to not have to deal with those personal challenges. And little did I know, by neglecting myself physically and emotionally, I was working against myself. I was making my job more challenging than it already was. And I was eroding the rapport that I had with learners because I didn't humanize myself. I was inadvertently communicating to my students that I was willing and determined to run myself ragged. So that's how my students treated me. Like I wasn't human or worthy of rest. One thing that oftentimes I feel like teachers don't realize is that the way we see ourselves is the way that we're often treated by students, by admin, by parents. Change in our classroom is a constant introspective process. And the changes that we want to see start with the expectations we have for ourselves. Which brings me to my next culprit, which is I lacked boundaries. It has taken me 2 years to realize that the reason why I didn't enforce enforce boundaries or couldn't seem to follow through, versus the years where I was able to enforce boundaries when I started to believe that I deserved better. I know that sometimes as new teachers, we're scared to like rock the boat or say no, stand up for ourselves. But when you notice patterns of constantly being nominated for something or voluntold to do something by your principal, by your admin, and you have that same nagging feeling of aggravation when you get stuck doing something that you really don't want to do. Even self-imposed things that you don't want to do, like working late. Because, especially as a new teacher, we are trying to prove our worth and our value as new members of the staff. In a profession where we are already largely unappreciated, it's no wonder that we subconsciously feel the need to prove that we are worth respecting. But here's the deal. No amount of overworking or saying yes will change the way people see teachers. Their perspective will change when we start saying no. So how did I bounce back from this pattern that was spiraling me away from teaching? Shocker, but it was actually a series of realizations. The first one being that I realized I couldn't live like this anymore. And I felt that if I felt I had to stay, as you know, dog food, takeout, Starbucks, I was gonna have to do this teaching thing a whole other way, because what I was doing was just not sustainable. The second thing that helped save my passion for teaching was making the commitment that not only was I gonna do things the easy way from here on out, but also the smarter way. This, my friends, is the secret sauce. You know, to my advantage, by this point, I had more than 9 years of teaching experience that I could reflect on so that I could construct ways to facilitate the way I plan, the way I engage students, the way I manage my class. And I know that, you know, sometimes when you don't have that experience, it's really challenging to know even where to start. You feel this overwhelm of knowing how to optimize if you don't have enough experience to use to create these systems. But if you're ready to commit to doing things the easy way and the smarter way, I would love to help. All you need to do is contact me with your information about your teaching journey and challenges at the Teach Like an Influencer link below, and I would be happy to let you know if you would be a good fit for my program, Teach Like an Influencer Academy. Now here's the deal. My commitment to doing things the easier way, the smarter way, forced me to look more closely and honestly at the way I was doing things in my classroom. Now I know we often see little things like passing out papers, distributing pencils, picking up homework, signing restroom passes as inconsequential. But I'm here to tell you that all those inconsequential things, whatever they may be, they do add up. Anything in our classroom that we are not saying no to, we are saying yes to. And it's important to reflect on whether the things that we're allowing are aligned to what we actually want happening in our classroom, and whether these actions fuel or detract from our energy. Everything that happens in your classroom is part of a system. It doesn't matter if this is your first year teaching, you have a system, whether you realize it or not. What I urge you to do, if you want to re-spark your passion for teaching, if you want to prevent teacher burnout, if you genuinely want to salvage and improve your teaching experience, your teaching career, at least the things that are in our control, you have to understand and you need to recognize the systems that currently drive the experience that you are now having in your classroom. And, you know, to ensure our wellness, we have to look at those systems. We have to look at those challenges that we're constantly facing in our classroom, figure out what systems we've developed around that challenge, and then brainstorm how we can work less and smart so that we can preserve our mental, our emotional, our physical wellness. And, you know, we need good teachers in the profession, just not at the expense of our wellness and our happiness. Because I invested the time and the energy in creating a system that would support my students and myself in showing up as our best selves, I can honestly say I couldn't have asked for more loving or compassionate pupils. Honestly, y'all, my students healed me. And I'm so grateful that I invested the time and the effort to support them to show up in the way that they did. And honestly, this is to prove that when we start investing our energy and our time and our effort in the things that really matter, they create the teaching experience that you envision, and you allow opportunities to unfold differently than they might have in the past. If you found this video helpful, you might also enjoy my video on preventing teacher burnout, and I'll go ahead and link that video up above and down below in the description for you to watch at the end of this video. Want tips, strategies, and resources delivered straight to your inbox? Be sure to sign up for my History Teacher Help Hotline in the link below. I want your success. I'm rooting for you. Until next time, class dismissed.